Hi, this is Harry Wagner from Harry's Situations. I'm here to talk to you today about tire size. In particular, we're going to compare these 40-inch Nitto Trail Grapplers to these 37-inch Nitto Ridge Grapplers. And we're going to run both sets of tires on my old 77 Ford F150. So the normal tire and wheel combination I run on this is these 40s. So they're Nitto Trail Grapplers and they're mounted on Raceline beadlock wheels. The tires weigh 103 pounds apiece and the wheels weigh 42 pounds apiece. So you do the math, 145 pound wheel and tire combination. So these are 37-inch Nitto Ridge Grapplers mounted on AEV Salta HD wheels. This is the combination I normally run on my Ram 3500 tow rig. These tires weigh 81 pounds apiece and the wheel weighs 29 pounds. So 110 pounds for the total package, where this tire alone weighs 103 pounds. You might be wondering, why am I so wrapped up with weight? Who cares? I'm a rock crawler. And that's legitimate. We're going to do some acceleration and braking tests later on the road, but even off-road, weight matters. Also, leverage matters from this taller tire, so that really stresses things like axle shafts, ring and pinions, differentials. So you have to run bigger components to run a bigger tire and wheel. Those bigger components get heavier too, and you start down this path where, before you know it, you have a 7,000 pound rig. Spoiler. So these Raceline wheels, this is their monster wheel. It's a cast aluminum wheel. These weigh 42 pounds. They actually make this same wheel in a forged wheel, stronger because it's forged, and they only weigh 29 pounds apiece. They also cost $770 each instead of $330 for these wheels. The old adage goes, speed costs money, how fast do you want to go? The same applies to rock crawling. You might want to go slow, but doing so still costs money when you're trying to gain performance. One of the concerns with a heavier wheel and tire combination is unsprung weight. Basically everything the suspension has to hold up. So in the case of a solid axle vehicle, we're talking about the axles, the brakes, the tires, and the wheels. The suspension has to control all of that, and the heavier it is, the harder the suspension has to work. Another concern is rotating mass. So this is a bigger deal on the road. Even off-road it matters. Acceleration and braking are going to be negatively affected by having a heavier tire and wheel combination. That's something that we're going to quantify in a little bit when we go out and we run some acceleration and braking numbers with both sets of tires and wheels on the same truck. So this 77 F150 I bought in 2013 for $1,200. That was a steal in my opinion. These trucks make a great platform. It came with a 351 V8, had an MP435 4-speed transmission that has a granny gear, an MP205 transfer case, and then the axles were a high pinion Dana 44 in the front with disc brakes and a big bearing 9-inch in the rear. You could run a 37-inch tire and wheel combination with that truck and it would work very well and be reliable still. Of course, I'm running 40-inch tires on my truck, so really the only thing that's left is the MP205 transfer case. The engine was swapped out for a 460 built by LA Speed with a roller cam, Edelbrock heads, an intake manifold, and Phytec fuel injection. The transmission was swapped out for a ZF5 with an overdrive, and that's mated to an off-road design doubler that uses an MP203 and an MP205 in order to provide 4-to-1 low range. The truck still uses coil springs in the front, but it has custom radius arms that were built by Rockhound Off-Road and Deaver leaf springs in the back. The truck now has Super Duty axles, so it has a high pinion Dana 60 in the front and a Sterling axle in the rear, and the axles have been upgraded with Sierra Gear 538 gears, which is the lowest you can get for a Sterling axle, and then they have Detroit lockers front and rear. The front also has chromoly axle shafts and CTM U-joints, along with Dynatrac hubs and Dynatrac ball joints for even more reliability. Another upgrade that was necessary in order to turn the big tires was hydraulic assist steering. PSC went through the steering box and I added a ram from PSC as well as their steering pump in order to provide enough pressure to run both the ram and the Hydro Boost. The brakes were converted to Hydro Boost using Super Duty components at the same time the axles were added in order to provide enough braking power for the big tires and wheels. There's no way I could have built a truck of this caliber on my own. I had a lot of help along the way. My good friends at Axeline built the drive lines, they built the ZF5 and swapped it in, and they built the off-road design doubler with an MP203 and 205. They also built the Super Duty axles that Nate's Precision swapped in Nate also built these cool pipe bumpers that really give the truck that ranch theme, the roll cage and the rock sliders, and they swapped in the LA Speedbuilt 460. More recently, my friends at Rockhound put bypass shocks on the truck and upgraded the suspension even further for more performance. So there's definitely advantages to 40-inch tires. Not only do they look awesome, but bigger tires make for smaller rocks and smaller holes. They provide more ground clearance, but there is a trade-off, and there is also diminishing returns. So the relationship between tire size and performance is not linear. Going from a stock tire to a 37 will get you a lot more performance than going from a 37 to a 40-inch tire, even though you're going to spend more going to a 40-inch tire and more on supporting modifications. I'm not trying to talk you out of getting 40-inch tires. I love how this truck performs. I've driven it all the way to Cabo San Lucas and back. I've driven it to Alaska and back, and I wouldn't change a thing. But don't think that it was cheap or easy to get here. Ready, set, whenever you're ready. Okay, smoking 40s. So that was about $5,000 again. $4,000, 4,500. Yep, good. Now see, that one was 13 seconds. So there's definitely some variability there. So we went out and did our 0 to 60 testing using the Faster app on my phone, and what we found was kind of surprising. So the 37s were faster, 11 seconds 0 to 60, still not great for a truck with a big block in it. But with the 40s, it was 12 seconds, only a second difference, which is kind of surprising. So we started to think about why, and we needed to shift into fourth with the 37s due to the gearing, but the truck was built around 40s, and so we actually were able to get all the way up to 60 without that last shift with the 40s on it. So I think if you had a stock truck, the results would be more dramatic than that, but the 37s were still faster. So we tried to do 60 to 0 braking testing to compare those results. Unfortunately, it locked up the rear tires on the truck. The last thing I want to do is flat spot my Nittos, so we abandoned that plan, and instead we're just going to go wheel.